This is the M18 Fuel Table Saw, and this is my unboxing and first impressions of this tool. Welcome to the Outlaw Effect. As far as packaging goes, this thing is well packed. Like, it's not gonna move inside that box. Well done, as usual with most Milwaukee tools. So with this kit that I purchased, I'll link in the description below and a pinned comment. You get the table saw, and inside the box, you're also getting a big, 12 amp hour high output battery. And then you're also getting a rapid charger, which will also charge both the M12 and the M18 batteries. And then of course you're getting a blade, which typically these blades, most manufacturers include, are just okay. So you'd probably want to upgrade that to a better blade in most cases, especially for woodworking. If you're just doing this as far as construction, rough framing, stuff like that, probably be fine for a few cuts anyway. You're also getting the blade guard inside this package. You're getting the riving knife, which is very important to use, and the anti-kickback paws as well, a blade change wrench, and a really terrible, crappy, awful miter gauge, which is standard for most any table saw, including the big old saw stop that costs close to $4 grand. So the companies really skimp out on these. There's actually a brand called Incra that makes a V27 miter gauge that will fit inside this table saw slot. That is a much better option for only about $80 or $90, and you'll be much happier with that versus something like this piece of stuff. All right, installing the blade is fairly simple. There is a spindle lock right here, so you only need one wrench. So you're just gonna push that button, and you're gonna snug your blade up, and then it will pop back free. You can use either end, the open end or the box end on that nut. Make sure you put the washer on and then the nut. For the riving knife, you can either use the riving knife or you can use the blade guard. They both go into the riving knife slot. The way you access that is kind of interesting. Underneath the back side of the saw, right behind the motor, there's a riving knife lever that when you activate that, it releases the riving knife mechanism there so that you can put your riving knife in and then just reach in and press that back down and lock it in place. I like that, it's kind of neat. On some saws, when you first get them, you'll see a little bit of misalignment here with the blade, but this one looks to be perfectly in line with that blade, so that's nice. This is a really well-made throat plate. I know on the Skil saw, the Skil table saw I reviewed a while back on the other channel, that the throat plate did flex a little bit in the middle, and which can cause a little bit of problems on your smaller, thinner cuts, especially for accuracy, and it just causes a little bit of problems. This one is very robust. It's very solid, and it is plastic, but it's very, very solid. Like, you can't make it flex or anything like that. It's just a well-made throat plate, and there are 4 adjustment screws on all 4 corners to get this thing perfectly leveled out, should you need to do that. It does look like it'll need just a little bit of adjustment out of the box, a little high on the back. To adjust the height on the throat plate, just a simple little Allen wrench will let you adjust those down, up, however you need to do that. There is a lock right here on the front of the throat plate, or unlock, so you can take that in and out, lock it back in place so it doesn't pop loose while you're trying to use it. Swapping out those riving knives, very simple. Whether you want just a regular riving knife or you want the riving knife with the blade guards on there, it's simply just flipping that switch, pulling these in and out. You don't even have to take the throat plate off to do that. Installing the anti-kickback paws, these will install only on the blade guard, so you don't get those on the regular riving knife. So it depends on if you need these or not. These are also one of the simpler ones I've seen to install. Sometimes you have to hold a weird angle and do some weird things to make these things go on different saws. This is simply a push button. Pops right on, right off, very easy. The fence stores underneath this for transport and storage, which most of these saws do, which is really good, keeps this safe and protected. Just to install it, you're just gonna flip a couple switches, set it on top in either one of these slots. You can go left of the blade or right of the blade. Right of the blade, there is 2 positions. You can get it closer to the blade or further away, depending on what kind of rip capacity you need. And this is a high-low fence, so you're able to have if you're ripping thin stock, that low fence is really good. And then if you get out past the table itself, this does drop down into a lower position to help with stock support, so I like that. This also comes with a push stick, which many of these saws do. I actually don't recommend these because once they get old, they can get brittle, especially if they're subject to temperature changes a lot, like cold and heat. They get brittle and shatter, and I've seen many, many people get injured when these things hit the blade and shatter, and then it cuts your arm, or these plastic pieces fly off and can really do some damage, face, things like that. So there's actually one from Bo that I recommend. It has a foam tip on it, so if it does get into the blade, then it doesn't really affect anything. Or just use wood ones that you make yourself or have other people make. This is a rack and pinion fence, which are, on these type saws, my favorite because of the accuracy that you're gonna get with that rack and pinion. Everything moves, basically gear driven, right? So it's all moving together it remains square to the blade, square to the slot, which is what you want in a table saw. If you don't have that, some of the older like Harbor Freight or Ryobi brand table saws, even some of the older Deltas, things like that, had just a fence that set up there and you had to try to square it yourself and one lever back here. Like those things just didn't work well, especially for me. I didn't like those because you couldn't keep it square. It was very difficult to square up. These should be perfectly square, and I'm gonna check the square of the blade and the fence and see out of the box if this thing is square. All right, so out of the box, it wasn't square. It was off maybe a ½ degree, maybe just a tiny bit more. Very simple to adjust. Even when you put it all the way to what was supposed to be 0, it was still off. There is an Allen key right beside the twist knob that raises and lowers the blade that you just turn, and it's got a cam in there. It's basically a different size round, or it's a cam. So when you turn it, it just depends on which way you go, which direction you need to adjust it. Very simple to adjust. A couple of quick turns of that, I was able to square this blade up perfectly with the table. So I like that I can adjust it very easily from the outside. I don't have to get it inside here under the motor or anything like that to adjust that. A quick check of the blade square to the fence. It's perfectly square right out of the box. I use this woodpecker's rule here, set it up on the fence. It's perfectly, I set it at 5 inches exactly. Move it to the back of the blade. It is also 5 inches exactly to the edge of the same tooth. So straight out of the box, very square. I like it. Also out of the box, the fence was not square to the slot. Pretty easy fix. These Allen bolts on each side, you can loosen either one of those, adjust it however you need to. You just tighten them back up when you get it right. Took like a minute and a half or less to fix the fence squareness, so good deal. And most of these compact or job site style saws will need some adjustments like this out of the box. This isn't like a Milwaukee thing. I had to do it on the DeWalt, if I remember correct, and the saw stop. So you have to adjust these a little bit just because they get beat around in packaging or shipping, things like that. All right, let's run through the features of this saw. It does have an 8 1/4 inch blade, which gives you 2.5 inches depth of cut. On the blade, it does have a standard 5/8 inch arbor size, so you shouldn't have any problems finding blades for this saw. Typically, I buy those on Amazon. I think Diablo makes a really good one. The DeWalt blade is actually very good. This blade that comes with the saw is very thin though. It's really good for ripping, but if you're gonna start getting into more finer work, I would absolutely upgrade that blade to one that's a little bit thicker. You'll have less deflection and it'll just cut cleaner, I think. The weight of this saw is only 40, almost 46 pounds with the battery installed. That is not bad for a table saw like this that's meant for the job site or just being able to take it in and out of the shop or garage to work. This is a good weight on this saw. It's not overly heavy. You do get 12 inches of rip capacity to the left of the blade, but to the right of the blade, you're getting 24.5 inches of rip capacity, which is really good for a saw this size. You do get 47 degrees of cut angle. You're just gonna turn this little knob here and it will pivot the blade. Pivot! Raise and lower the blade with this crank handle. This is a little, I don't really care for this one. It doesn't work that great. It works, but it's just, it could be better. And as far as tilting the saw, you can tilt to 47 degrees. You're gonna flip this piece up and then you're just going to move it left and right. Very quick, and you can dial that in however you need to. And you do get 47 inches of bevel cuts there. Not real sure how you bypass the 0 going the other way. You can tell me in the comments if you know. Fence works like most of these. There is a locking lever right there. You can flip that up. Then you'll be able to free slide this, or you can dial it in. There is a measuring gauge on top. The bottom one is for the outer post, and the top one is for the inner post. You can literally move this fence over if you want to keep it on the inner post. Once you get the fence set exactly where you want it, you're just going to lock the fence down with that lever. This does have a covered power switch, so you flip this cover up, and then it stays in place so you can push the plastic cover. So I guess it's like a safety mechanism to keep it from accidentally getting knocked on. You just pull this up, and then you're able to power the saw on, and then push it down and power it off. This saw does have the One Key feature, which allows you to track and manage these tools. So if you're working on a job site, if you have several of these, this is a good way to keep that up. Tool security, you can also lock this saw down remotely to prevent theft and tampering, all with the One Key app on your phone. There's a few things I like about the One Key feature. It will show you when there are devices nearby or tools nearby. It'll also show you the last known location of this tool once you sync it up. And if it's lost, it will alert you the next time it's found. So that is really cool. One thing I think that a lot of people need to add to these job site saws is this new Bow XT fence system that they recently come out with. I did a whole video on this. If you want to check that out, I'll link it below. I've been using it on the DeWalt compact saw. It is almost a must-have on these saws because it gives you a whole bunch of that outfeed support where on these smaller tables really comes in handy, or in-feed support, because you can really slide it the other way and use it for in-feed if you need that. But the out-feed support's where I love it the most on these saws, because when you're cutting those long boards, it's always falling off the back, especially on the job sites and even in small shops where you have to work in the garage, or when you have to take your tools outside, say in the driveway or something to work. This really gives you a lot more safety and keeps that boards from falling off the edge and damaging the lumber and all that stuff. So I really like these add-ons. This 36 is a good solid size for this saw. There are 46-inch fences and 24-inch fences available, depending on what you want. And this will work on a bandsaw if you have that, so you wouldn't need to buy two. You could use it on both saws. And they clamp to just about any fence. To install the battery, very simple. Just slide it in that slot right there. It's ready to rock. I'm curious to know how loud this is, because some of these saws are very loud, so let's find out. Not that bad. It has a blade brake on it. Did you see that? Yep. It's kind of impressive. Comes to a stop very quick. I like that. Color me impressed. I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
It's about 1 3/4 inch piece of walnut. It went right through it. There's no trouble at all. Even with the stock blade, it made a fairly good cut for a 24-inch tooth blade. Not like super butter smooth, but it is smooth enough. I could work with that. This is more of a framing type blade. I would get a much better blade if I was going to be cutting hardwoods and stuff, but this, it worked well. The main thing I was impressed with was the power. It powered right through it. Now I did try to cut a piece of walnut that's a little thicker, but it was also twisted, and so that's a bad idea for anybody, even on a big table saw. So it started binding up, so I shut it down pretty quick. But that was my fault. When I have a properly milled piece of lumber, flat, straight edge, this worked really, really well. It's also perfectly square, which is exactly what you want out of a table saw. Dust collection is meh. I mean, it's a compact job site saw. Most people, especially if you're on the job site, you're not overly concerned with dust collection. It's okay. I mean, I had it hooked up to my big dust collector and it still was throwing it everywhere, especially out front and up top. I wasn't expecting that to be amazing, so it kind of fits expectations there. It could be better. I wish it was better, but it's just not. So it's kind of the par for the course with these type things. Overall, the adjustments of the saw is very easy to do. The saw is easy to operate. It's not overly heavy, so you can transport this back and forth from the job site or out of the garage into the driveway or out of the shed into the driveway, however you're needing to do your work. Overall, I think this is a very good option for a table saw if you're in the market, especially for a cordless table saw. We're going to test this over the next few weeks, and I'll have a full review available with battery life and all that stuff. They claim you can rip up to 600 feet on a single charge. Maybe something I need to test, we'll see. But out of the box, the adjustability to get this thing squared up and ready to cut, you can see I got a 90-degree cut there. The power to power through walnut, hardwoods, things like that is there, so it will absolutely cut through pine, softer woods like that. So you don't have any issues there. Lightweight, easy to transport, all around a good saw in my opinion on the first impressions here on the Outlaw Effect. If you want to see what I thought about the Milwaukee M18 router, check out the video right there, full review on that router after I've owned it for a year. Thank you for watching the Outlaw Effect.